Hey everybody, this is Russ from Retro Game Core. A few months ago I did a video about this thing. This is the dbrand KillSwitch case for the Steam Deck, and this thing is amazing. I've had it for about a year and a half now, and it basically just lives on my Steam Deck. Now in that other video I showed off a bunch of other options that I had been trying out just to see whether or not I could have anything dethrone this guy, and unfortunately nothing did. Now in that video I got a lot of comments about two specific grip cases that I hadn't tried out yet, and they said that those are going to be a better competition. And so I picked those up, and that's what we're going to be testing out here in this video. And these two are the ModCase from JSAUX as well as the GripCase from Co. And to give you an idea of how we're going to approach this video, I have not touched either of these before, and so I want to just give my raw impressions as I try them out. And I love making this kind of videos, especially when it comes to accessories, because I think sometimes that first impression is really hard to capture. Now I've got two different Steam Decks to test with. Here's my OLED, which has the KillSwitch case on it. So this one's not going anywhere. This will be the baseline that we'll compare against the other one. And this one is my original 512GB etched glass model. And I have a cheap case on it. It's the MEP10 one. This one's like $13. And honestly, I've just been using this one as a docked PC all this time, and so I haven't really cared about a case for this one. So either way, we're going to just change out all the cases from this one, and then we will use that as a comparison against the dbrand KillSwitch. Okay, we're going to start with the mod case from JSAUX. Now, they often will send me things, but they didn't send me this one. I bought it on my own. I think it was around $30 on Amazon, and it's often on sale, so you will often find it for about $25. And this one comes with a front cover, but honestly, I rarely use these. Instead, I just like to have a case that fits within this Tomtock shell instead. And the dbrand KillSwitch does fit within this, and so that's usually what I do, is I have the KillSwitch, throw it in here, and then protect everything with a nice little case. Now, in terms of just overall design of the box, nothing really going on here other than just a couple of the accessories, and yeah, that's it. So taking a look inside, we've got the case itself, and then something else right here. What is this? Now this is kind of neat. This is actually a cover for the official Valve dock. So you could put this in there maybe if you were going to be going on travel and you wanted to make sure it was nice and protected. And I assume it also is going to fit with the case as well. Honestly, I've never really been concerned about protecting my dock, so it's just kind of a unique aspect. So here's my official dock. So let's see if we can test it out. I'm going to snake through my cable here in the back, and then just try to get it to fit. It's definitely on the tight side, but yeah, it wasn't too hard to get on. Now the big thing I've noticed here is that the lip is a lot taller on this one. You can actually feel the rubberized portion of it. So I assume that this case right here needs something that's a little bit thicker, and so that's why they made this cover. And so it's probably less about protecting your dock, but more about just making sure that it works with this specific case. So let's go ahead and take a look at the case itself. So I'm going to pull off the top cover and really just kind of get down to brass tacks with the grip itself. Okay, so looking at the grip case itself, you can see that it has a transparent back to it, and I think this is for some sort of accessory system, and I've heard that this kickstand will actually come out as well. Now the texture on the grip itself feels pretty good. It's a soft rubber, and then it has just, a little bit of this texture, this bumpiness here. And that is quite different from the KillSwitch case, which has just a little bit more of a nuanced, like sandpapery feel to it. The thing with this one is that it picks up all sorts of dust and stuff over time, so I do have to wipe it off every once in a while. But I do love the really powdery, kind of clean feel of this one. The one on this case feels a little bit more like the back of an Xbox controller, but a little bit softer, and I still like the feel of this one too. As far as durability, you can definitely tell that this back plate is there and it's a little bit sturdy, but otherwise, yeah, it's mostly soft rubber. And you can see that up top they have like little rubber coverings for the power buttons and the volume buttons. I would rather just press them directly, but we will test this out. And then this plastic right here is a little bit harder than this, but it is still bendable. So let's go ahead and insert our Steam Deck and see how it looks. Okay, so far so good. It was a little bit tight to actually get in, but I'm really liking the look and feel of it. Now, one nice thing is that when I rest my palm directly onto the controller like this, I'm not actually touching the lip. That was a problem that I had with a couple of the other grips, but this one seems to be really well made. Now on the back here, it feels really good. It kind of feels like a rip-off of the KillSwitch. Other than that, it's a soft rubber, and so I do like the overall feel of this. It's a little bit more forgiving, but yeah, I've got a full grip right here. I can access the back buttons, no problem. Now let's take a look at this accessory system thing here on the back, and it's funny that it actually shows the Valve logo through it. So this is like a universal strap system that comes with it. So the idea is you're supposed to be able to slide this all the way in, and it's a little bit snug when you get in there, but yeah, you can totally do this. And then you can use this to attach other things to it. So I've got like a battery bank right here, and I should be able to now just kind of flop this in. And so it's a little bit like putting on a watch, but you want to get it as tight as possible, especially if your battery bank is going to be heavy. But this is what it's going to look like once you have it set up. So you push it through the appropriate hole, and then you've got a little strap here to kind of hold it into place. And so there we go. I've got a battery bank on the back. It's a little bit wobbly just because it is a rubber holder, but overall I think it is pretty well on there. And so this will be great on the go if you want to quickly charge your Steam Deck without having to plug it into an outlet. Now let's take a look at the kickstand, and this is made out of metal, at least this part right here, so it is pretty sturdy, but it only goes back this far. And honestly, if you were to be playing it like this is not enough of an angle for me. This is what I would consider to be a tabletop angle. So if you wanted to just set this aside and then you were like playing with a controller, that would probably work depending on the angle. But if you were to play this at a table, like say, for example, you wanted to give your arms a rest and you wanted to hold it like this is not enough of an angle. I think it needs to be about twice as much. And so already I can see a little bit of a flaw in the whole kickstand thing in the fact that it's not universal. It can work just fine in tabletop mode, but if you wanted to actually use this personally, I'm not sure I would. However, you can just remove this. So you just pull it down and then it comes right out. Now, this part right here is a little bit gaudy without it, but it might be convenient if you're trying to minimize as much weight as possible and you don't plan on using that kickstand. For my part, I found that the additional weight is kind of trivial, and so I'll probably just keep it on here. Okay, so now let's look at the front cover. Like I mentioned, I probably won't be using this, but it does look very similar in terms of design with the KillSwitch one. I will say this one feels a lot lighter and a little bit cheaper as well, like the material is just a lot thinner. And to install it, all you would do is just put this part on top and then just slide it onto the bottom. And yeah, that's a really easy installation. So if you're looking for an all-in-one solution that has both a cover and a kickstand and a case for $30, that's not too bad. Another thing I've noticed after just a few minutes of testing, this is a lot looser than it was when I first got the case. And so for example, if I just push it down like this and then go back up, you can see that the kickstand itself actually comes a little bit loose. So this might be another reason why it might just be worth having that off in the first place. Now in terms of using the grip with the dock, and this has the rubber casing on it, it does fit, but you have to open up the kickstand first. But after that, yeah, it fits just fine. And so really this kickstand is just gonna kind of flap over here and then just hold it into place. And the case has a cutout, which means you'll be able to use the cable without any sort of accessory or adapter. Okay, so already I'm very impressed by this. I can see why a lot of people like it, especially at a $30 price point. That makes it less than half the price of the dbrand one. So next I want to see whether or not it fits on my OLED Steam Deck, which has those dbrand skins on it, because that might be the best of both worlds. Now I'm going to be very careful when I pull over this last part because I don't want to rip loose this skin at all. And look at that, it actually does fit it perfectly. So you can see right here, it lines up directly with that skin. This is actually kind of amazing. I love the fact that they're hijacking the dbrand aesthetic right here by actually making this work with the skin, and it looks really good. And honestly, it feels good too. It's a little bit cheaper than the dbrand one. You can just feel that the rubber here is just a little bit softer. And the most important thing about the dbrand one has always been the overall feel of the grip and how it just kind of complements the Steam Deck. And to be honest, the JSAUX one also is doing that right now. So I do think this might be the best of both worlds. If you're able to pick up this case for $30 or less, and then these skins are like $15 each, for $45, you'll be able to get something that just looks and feels a lot like the dbrand KillSwitch, again with the skin included, and it's going to be $15 cheaper than the $60 that they charge. Now, if you are interested in using a kickstand, then this is probably going to be a lot worse of an experience compared to what you can get with the KillSwitch. But I would say as a whole, this is a great replacement for the dbrand KillSwitch case. Hey, I'm going to jump in here, a quick update. So talking about the mod case here and the kickstand thing, like I mentioned, this feels kind of loose and I don't really like the feel of it overall, but my friends over at Mechanism just released a grip adapter for the mod case with their whole Mechanism line. Now, I don't have one just yet to test with because it's in a pre-order phase, but the idea is that you'll be able to throw this on, use the Mechanism grip with it, which means that you'll be able to use things like the Mechanism kickstand, which is my favorite kickstand hands down for the Steam Deck altogether. And the thing I love about their kickstand is that it angles like all the way back. And so depending on, the type of game you're playing, if you want to play it on a desktop and you want to be able to lean it all the way back, like I was mentioning before, you can do that with this one. It's only going to be $9. You'll have to also have this kickstand, but $9 for the adapter. And so I think that's going to be well worth it as well. If you're trying to get a whole ecosystem with the JSAUX case, then I think that getting the Mechanism system is going to really work. It's kind of the best of both worlds in the sense that you have all of the deckmate accessories, but then also you can use it with the mod case too. So the way I see it, the dbrand case is still better than the one from JSAUX, but this is an excellent replacement and for about half the price. Even if you throw in the skin from dbrand, you're still going to be saving quite a few bucks. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this so far. I can see why a lot of people like this and left that comment in that video, because honestly, this thing is half the price and still feels just about the same. To put it into perspective, there is no way that the dbrand one feels twice as good as this one, even though it is twice the cost. Okay, so now let's move into the Steam Deck Grip case from Skull & Co. Now, I've never tried out a case from Skull & Co., but I have used like their joystick caps before, and those are pretty high quality, so let's test this one out. The interesting thing about this one is that it's only $17, so that is relatively cheap. It looks like it does not come with a front case, but the design is actually made so that you can prop it up yourself. So let's go ahead and take a look inside and see what we're working with. Hey, look at that. It actually comes with its own Steam Deck. How awesome. And to be honest, there's not really a lot going on here. You just have the case itself. Oh, I like this little inner design they have here. A little bit of Pac-Man going on, some Space Invaders. And we've even got a Mario question mark block. It's awesome they haven't gotten sued. And you can see with this one that it is fully soft. So the back part right here is not hard like with a lot of other cases. But as you can see here, there is no like additional hardware on the back, so no additional kickstand. It's really just the fact that this thing can actually prop itself up on its own. And it's all due to the bottom part right here, which does jut out quite a bit, but you know, you're not actually going to touch that with your hand. And yeah, it is pretty convenient that it just props up on its own. Now looking at the top here, very similar to the previous one. So they do have rubber coverings for the power button as well as the volume buttons. And then everything else is just a hole. And they have made a gap right here, which is going to make it easy to use with the official dock. The back is very plain other than the Skull & Co. little logo right here. Yeah, it's just like super clean. And taking a look at the texture of the grips, it's very similar to the one we were just looking at from JSAUX, but a little bit grippier and bumpier. But it does still have that soft rubber feel to it compared to the sandpapery feel of the dbrand one. So let's go ahead and try to get it installed, and this is super easy. It's actually like probably one of the easiest cases I've ever used to actually put on. And I do like the fact that they still made the Valve logo front and center right here. Now for the grip itself, you can see that it doesn't go as far as the other one does. So it doesn't reach this lip, but the lip does taper down, and so it actually gets pretty smooth right here. You can still kind of feel that there's a lip, especially around right here and right here when I grip it, but overall I would say it doesn't get to the point where it bothers me. And it does make my hand feel like it's a little bit more immediately in contact with the Steam Deck itself. I also kind of like that there is no rubber bumper along this end. That makes it a lot easier to be able to reach back and touch your bumpers without having to go over the case itself. Now, if you try to use the KillSwitch skin with this grip, it's not really going to work. You can see it doesn't actually reach all the way up. And so that skin in particular doesn't work. However, dbrand does sell like a full shell skin for $30, and that will extend past here. And given the fact that this is a relatively loose case, all things considered, it's going to have plenty of room for that skin as well. Just keep in mind that that skin is going to be quite a bit more expensive. It's $30 instead of $15. And so if you combine that with this case right here at $17, you are looking at something that's a little bit more expensive than the one from JSAUX. But of course, if you don't care about skins, then no big deal at all. You can just use this for 17 bucks and it's going to work well. Now, in terms of actually using the power buttons and the volume up and down, they seem to work just fine with both this one and the one from JSAUX. So even though I don't really like that we have these rubber coverings on top, they still work just fine. And in terms of just general gameplay, it feels pretty good. Like I can definitely still feel that there's a lip here, so it's not ideal, at least for me. But I do think it's a good complement to the Steam Deck grip altogether. If you are looking for something that's got a little bit more bulk to it, this is going to give it to you. And it has that soft rubber feel too. I honestly don't really like the feel of soft rubber compared to something a little bit more powdery. But if you like this kind of texture and feeling, then yeah, you've got like a rubber covering around your Steam Deck. Now, in terms of propping this up, it's almost the exact same experience like I was talking about before, in that yes, if you were to play it like tabletop, like you were going to have a controller right here, it's going to be fine at most angles, but I do wish it went back a little bit more. Ideally, if I was playing, I would want it at this kind of angle right here. I'm trying to not get my face on the screen, but this is about as low as I would want it, where it's just kind of gripping here at the bottom, and then the kickstand is propping it the rest of the way. And so this default 75-degree angle right here is just much too tall for that. So I guess when it comes down to it, we're talking about the Skull & Co. grip. I can see why a lot of people like this one, but this is not a good match for the way that I like to play. I don't like the fact that I can kind of feel the lip, and I do wish that the grip went up just high enough so that I could use it with my skin with no problem. However, if you're just looking to protect your Steam Deck and maybe give it a little bit more of a grip on each edge, then yes, I can see this being worth 17 bucks. And so putting it all together between the dbrand, the JSAUX, as well as the Skull & Co. grip, I can see why each three of these have their own merit. And the way I see it, if I was on a budget and I was just buying my very first grip right now, I would probably go with the JSAUX one in combination with a skin from dbrand. That's going to saved me $15, and I wouldn't say that the experience of using a KillSwitch is worth an additional $15 by comparison. And then finally, if you're on a very tight budget, you've got less than $20 to spend, but you do want to improve the overall grip feel of the Steam Deck, then I think that yeah, the Skull & Co one definitely still has its own place. For my part, because I've already spent the money on these and I have the dbrand one, I'm just going to stick with this one. However, the JSAUX one is totally giving it a run for its money, and so I'm going to put this on my second Steam Deck instead of the cheaper one that I have right now. Okay, one more quick update. I have been using the ModCase from JSAUX on my Steam Deck now for about a week straight, and I've just been enjoying it more and more. And so all the things that I said in like my first impressions throughout the rest of this video, they're all true, but I have also found that I really enjoy it. I don't really mind the soft rubberness of it. I just kind of got used to it. It became part of the device itself. And one other thing worth mentioning is that even though the JSAUX one is half the price, it also comes with that cover. And so if you want to have a cover with your case, then it comes with it with the JSAUX one, whereas it's an additional $15 on top of the $60 that you will get with the KillSwitch from dbrand. So putting this all together, I do think that the JSAUX ModCase is the cheapest way to go to get a full, complete ecosystem. You'll be able to use the ModCase, which just feels really good in the hand. You have the cover if you want to use that, but then also you can just buy their skin, which will work directly with the JSAUX ModCase for another $15. From there, you can throw on the mechanism grip adapter, and then you have the whole suite of their accessory system as well. And so I think that's the budget way to go if you want to have your Steam Deck completely decked out, but for the cheapest money possible. And it's also worth noting, if you have a KillSwitch, that Mechanism has made those adapters available for the KillSwitch as well, also $9. And so I think regardless, depending on which case you go with, the dbrand one or the one from JSAUX, I think that you should get that Mechanism one anyway, because it allows you to just have a better, more complete and well thought out ecosystem when it comes to accessories. And so in the end, this makes me very appreciative of the community around my videos. And yes, I try to read all the comments that I can. And so I really like the fact that I got a lot of these recommendations. And yeah, this JSAUX one is definitely a hidden gem in the sense that it's $30 and is just about the same in terms of just grip quality as the dbrand one. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you have a grip for your Steam Deck, and which one do you prefer? I still think the dbrand one is the best, but if I was just to get the best bang for my buck, it's definitely the JSAUX one for me. As always, thank you for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe if you found this helpful, and we will see you next time. Happy gaming.